In the early years of life, a child's brain develops at a speed that many adults can hardly imagine. Not day by day, not hour by hour, but moment by moment, in very small fragments of everyday life. What is worth noting is that this development does not happen when a child sits in front of expensive toys, does not lie in elaborate early learning programs, and does not require parents to become parenting experts. In reality, a child's brain grows most strongly in very ordinary moments. When your child calls you and you turn back to look. When your child struggles and tries one more time. When your child is allowed to take part in small things around them. Many parents worry that they are not doing enough, that other children speak earlier, do better, move faster. But there is a very important truth that few people tell you. The brain does not need perfection. It needs repetition, safety, and connection. And that does not lie in big things. It lies in very small habits, repeated every day. In this video, we will go through 5 simple habits, easy to apply, free of cost, without added pressure, yet deeply influential in how your child's brain forms, connects, and develops. If you are raising a child, or simply want to understand your child better, stay with me. Because it is very possible that you are doing better than you think, you just have never realized it. Habit number 1. Respond to your child in very small moments. You may have experienced moments like these. Your child calls you, but you are busy. Your child points at something, and you think, they probably don't understand yet. Your child hands you an object, then hands it to you again and again. These moments pass very quickly. And often, adults don't realize that a child's brain is waiting for a response. When a child sends a signal through eye contact, gestures, sounds, or actions, and an adult responds, the child's brain registers something important. I am being heard. I can affect the world around me. These back-and-forth responses are how the brain learns to communicate, take turns, connect emotionally, and gradually build a sense of inner safety. What matters is that the response does not need to be perfect. You don't need the right words. You don't need to teach anything complicated. Sometimes it's just looking into your child's eyes and nodding, repeating a sound your child just made, naming the object your child is focusing on, or simply smiling and responding each time this happens. Your child's brain is forming new connections. These connections don't only support language development, they also help your child understand emotions, learn to wait, and trust that the world is a safe place to explore. So when your child brings you the same object for the 10th time in one day, it is not a meaningless action. It is your child practicing communication, testing connection, and checking, will I be responded to? You don't have to respond immediately every single time. Busy lives are unavoidable. But when responses happen often enough, with sincerity and real connection, your child's brain learns a deeply important lesson. I am not being ignored. And that lesson becomes the foundation for communication, emotional regulation, and confidence later in life. Habit number 2. Explore language with your child through images and voice every day. There is a very common belief among many parents. My child is still too young. Doesn't he understand anything, yet what is the point of talking a lot or reading to them? But for a child's brain, understanding is not a prerequisite for learning. From a very early stage, the brain already begins to register the rhythm of speech, the rise and fall of sounds, and the way images are connected to words. When you point to a picture and name it, when you describe what is happening around you, or when you read a few short lines to your child each day, your child's brain is doing something very important, building the foundation for language and thinking. This does not require a long amount of time. It does not require reading an entire thick book. It only takes short moments, repeated regularly, and filled with emotion. When hearing your familiar voice, your child's brain is not only absorbing words, it is also learning how to focus on an object, connect images with meaning, and feel that learning is a pleasant experience. That pleasant feeling is what truly matters. Because when language is associated with warmth and safety, the brain becomes more open to receiving, remembering, and exploring. You do not need to read beautifully. You do not need to perform like a professional storyteller. Sometimes it is simply pointing to an image and speaking slowly, repeating a word many times, or letting your child turn the pages in their own way. Each time you do this, your child's brain is practicing attention, expanding vocabulary, and gradually forming symbolic thinking, an important foundation for later learning. And perhaps the most valuable thing this habit offers is not just words or knowledge, but a very deep message that the child's brain remembers. Moments of learning are moments of connection. When this happens often enough, learning no longer feels like pressure, but becomes a natural part of your child's life. Habit number 3. Maintain a steady daily rhythm so the brain has time to rebuild itself. There are days when everything feels rushed. Meal times change. Bedtime gets pushed later. One thing follows another without a real pause. For adults, it's just a busy day. But for a child's brain, constant disruption makes processing the world much harder. A child's brain develops best when the surrounding world is predictable. Not because children crave strict rules, but because repetition helps the brain know what comes next, saving energy for learning and adapting instead of staying on alert. A stable daily rhythm does not need to be rigid. It only needs to feel familiar. For example, a consistent bedtime routine, a quiet period every evening. Repeated cues that signal, it's almost time to rest. When these patterns repeat, the child's brain begins to shift into a relaxed state. And it is in this state that the brain does something very important. It organizes what has been learned during the day. During sleep and rest, important neural connections are strengthened, unnecessary connections are trimmed away. Scattered experiences are woven together into memory. That's why a well-rested child often concentrates more easily, has fewer emotional outbursts, absorbs new information with less effort. This doesn't mean every day has to be perfect. There will be off days. There will be evenings when routines fall apart. But if most of the time your child lives within a rhythm that is stable enough, the brain learns a crucial message. I am in a safe environment. And when the brain feels safe, it can devote far more energy to learning, remembering, and healthy development. Habit number 4. Allow your child to face small difficulties in a safe environment. There are very familiar moments. Your child tries to stack an object, but just can't make it work. Your child gets frustrated, your child cries out. And the adult's natural reflex is to step in immediately. We help because we care. Because we are afraid our child will feel disappointed. Because we want things to move along faster. But for a child's brain, small difficulties carry a very big meaning. When a child faces a challenge that is manageable and has time to work through it on their own, the brain begins to learn how to focus on the problem, regulate emotions, try different approaches, and patiently wait for results. Those moments of struggling help the brain practice self-regulation. The child is not only learning how to solve a problem, but also learning how to stay with uncomfortable feelings without being overwhelmed by them. What matters is that the difficulty happens within a safe environment. You are still there. The child knows they are not abandoned, but you do not do it for them. Sometimes all it takes is a short pause, an encouraging look, or a gentle sentence like, "Try one more time." When the child finds a solution on their own, the brain records that experience very strongly. The feeling of "I can do it" not only creates joy, but also strengthens the neural connections related to self-control and thinking. On the other hand, if every difficulty is solved for the child, the brain has fewer chances to practice. The child may become used to waiting for others to step in and may give up more easily when obstacles appear. So next time your child is struggling with a small challenge, try slowing down just a little. Take a breath. Observe. It may be that the moment you choose not to rush in is exactly when your child's brain is growing the most. Habit number 5. Let your child take part in small tasks to nurture the feeling of I have value. Many people think that when children are still young, they only need to play, and that everything else around them is the adult's responsibility. But for a child's brain, being allowed to participate is actually a very deep form of learning. When a child is invited to do a small task, even something as simple as handing you an object, putting a few items back in their place, or working with you on a very small step, the child's brain does not see this as helping. It sees it as belonging here. In those moments, the brain learns how to plan a sequence of actions, coordinate hands and eyes, adjust force and rhythm, and register the results of its own actions. More importantly, the child begins to form a sense of being useful. This feeling is not loud, but it is very lasting. When a child feels that what I do has meaning, the brain responds more positively to learning. The child becomes more cooperative, more patient, and more motivated to try new things. You don't need to turn every task into an assignment. You don't need to give excessive praise. Just give your child a role that fits their ability and let them complete it in their own way. There will be times when it's slow. There will be times when it's clumsy. There will be times when things are not as neat as you hoped. But it is precisely in those moments that the child's brain is practicing planning skills, learning how to take responsibility and building confidence from the inside out. Instead of leaving your child on the sidelines or sitting in front of a screen, try inviting them to join you and slow everything down a little. Because when a child is allowed to participate, the brain does not only learn how to do things, it also learns something very important. I am a valuable part of this world. We have just gone through 5 very small habits, things that don't require extra money, don't require special skills, and don't demand that parents be perfect. Simply responding to your child in very small moments, exploring language, together with your child every day, maintaining a daily rhythm that is stable enough, allowing your child to face age-appropriate difficulties, and letting your child participate and be involved in the world around them. Each habit, on its own, may seem very simple, but when repeated consistently, they create an environment in which a child's brain can feel safe to develop. You don't need to do everything perfectly. There will be days when you are tired, days when everything is disrupted. That does not make you an inadequate parent, because a child's brain does not need perfection. It needs steady presence, a sense of safety, and connections built little by little. If there is one most important thing you can remember, it is this: what you do every day, even the smallest things, is leaving an imprint on your child's brain. And very likely you have been doing better than you think. If you want to continue learning more deeply about how daily habits affect a child's development, follow the channel so you don't miss upcoming content. Thank you for staying until the end of the video. And I wish you always enough calmness and enough patience to walk alongside your child on the journey of growing up each day.